The purpose of the Sustainable Living channel is to help people figure out how to survive and even thrive in the late Anthropocene. Surviving means meeting our physical, mental, and emotional needs. And thriving means surviving in a way that maximizes the health, well-being, joy, and growth of yourself and those you care about. When I say Anthropocene, I'm referring to the current age in which we live, in which humans have had a significant and perhaps even disproportionate impact on the Earth, to the point that we are starting to dramatically affect all sorts of ecosystems, including perhaps the largest ecosystem, the climate itself. Now, there is some debate as to when exactly the Anthropocene began, and certainly some debate about what part of it are we existing in. That really doesn't matter too much. The point remains, whenever it began, we are clearly in it. But I choose to call it the late Anthropocene because we seem to be getting dangerously close to a tipping point with our climate. And that assumes we haven't already passed that tipping point and just don't realize it yet. Now, I choose to believe that change is possible, but I'm also realistic enough to recognize that it grows increasingly unlikely with each passing day. I have already seen some of the changes predicted by climate models from decades ago, and it is very possible that I will see yet worse in my lifetime. And then I think of the next generation, my nieces for instance. What are the things they're going to face and that they're going to have to deal with? And more to the point, what are some things that I can do now to help them better adapt, to be ready to not just survive in the changes that are coming, but perhaps even thrive? Among the many challenges humans are going to face in the coming decades, one of the most significant of them concerns food. And food, like water, is essential to our survival. But food is more than just survival. Food is how we express culture. It's a way of bringing people together, and it represents our most fundamental interface with the natural world. That old phrase, "you are what you eat," has a lot more truth to it than I think people generally realize. So as I think through surviving and thriving in the late Anthropocene, I'm going to use food as my primary lens for exploring everything from the conceptual and theoretical to the practical, from the individual to how we interface with social and physical systems. We're going to include topics such as how to grow, preserve, and prepare food, and to do so in harmony with our physical and social environments. Some of the key social forces that have influenced our lives, and how we influence them in turn, and how to build greater joy and cooperation into how we live our lives. So if this sounds interesting to you, I suggest you start with my Surviving and Thriving video, which is meant to offer an introduction to some of the challenges that we're facing and how we might go about solving some of them. And then keep coming back for other content, because I'll be covering everything from food to civics and a host of topics in between. The road ahead is not going to be easy, but I firmly believe that it is possible, and little by little we can create a better world for ourselves, for those around us, and for those yet to come.